that they will be able to extract.
Okay, but can I put another argument to you, and you tell me if this makes any sense, because you look at these complex structures every day. Today whatever royalty Suzuki charges Maruti is based on models that Maruti already manufactures. A whole bunch of new models will come to the market in the course of the next few years. Can it be that those models would get manufactured in the Suzuki Gujarat plant, therefore Suzuki Gujarat will pay a royalty to Suzuki Japan? That royalty will become a factor of the cost of production. That cost of production will get passed on to Maruti, and thereby this creates one other route for Suzuki Japan to charge a higher royalty on the products being manufactured and sold in India, but not through Maruti, through a private listed company.
Look at this concept which they have brought in. We will recover cost. What is the definition of cost? You and me can guess.
Pricing. Tell me, can they sell at just cost without profit?
Yes, they can. It is a domestic transaction, and they are on the credit side. So far, Indian transfer pricing provisions are if you are expending money, spending money, then only it applies, not the recipient of the money. So therefore, that is not an issue as far as the transaction between two entities are concerned. But the issue is whether you do not have the definition of cost. It is your ballpark figure, whichever figure you want to give it, and who will
especially
be
if it's a new model and there is no comparable cost in the current manufacturing situation at Maruti.
That's correct. So, and therefore, if that whole of the cost, including the cost of royalty, including the cost of expansion of the capex expenditure, everything will be recovered. It will be at the cost of Maruti. The benefit goes to the Suzuki. Suzuki, in turn, will have what will happen over a period of time. They have said this agreement will be valid for 15 years. They will expand the asset base in this country, sizable asset base as compared to the historical cost of asset base of Maruti, which is an old asset value, and this will be new asset value. And then thereafter they will say, okay, let us go and go for merger of two entities.
Well, they've said that the Suzuki subsidiary will always remain 100% Suzuki subsidiary.
Correct, it will remain until it is merged with the other entity. It always remains. Who says it will not?
Well, what's the harm in a merger? They've done that similar stuff before. They've done it at reasonable valuations.
That will reduce minority shareholding from 44% to maybe 25%.
It's an unequal relationship when you are just looking at it at that stage, and that's what we are saying. A couple of things are happening here. One is the fact that, look, remember at this moment Maruti its return on capital employed is higher than what it's earning on its investments with the bank. So therefore, to say that, look, we are going to earn here and Suzuki is going to be funding it, really doesn't cut much ice.
But they can divert some of this money to R&D, to distribution, to marketing.
In fact, let me add, if I'm on the board of Maruti, why should I worry about what's on the cash, what the cash balance of Suzuki is?
You're not. You're saying, look, if Suzuki makes this investment, then this money is available to me to invest in other areas which also urgently require the money.
I would actually, if Suzuki feels that this R&D, etc. is required to be carried out, they can pump in more money into the Maruti itself, and they can use that money. Who prevents from doing that? What was the reason for setting up a separate company?
I don't know, I'm trying to understand what was the reason.
I'm kind of, if I'm sitting on the board of Maruti, why would I worry about how much cash is there on the Suzuki balance sheet? Why would I say
I'm saying maybe they didn't worry at all. Maybe the board members only said, look, if you're willing to put in your money and supply this to me at, so it's a risk-free supply for me at cost, with no return on capital for your end, then why should I say no to this deal?
Look, at every stage they've said, look, it's win-win, there's cash lying on the Suzuki balance sheet, they will invest.
Why don't we believe them? My question is this.
It is too good to believe.
Suzuki is sitting on cheap yen funds, it wants to put them to work, it will get a higher rate of return if deployed in this kind of investment activity. Maruti can then use its money to invest elsewhere. Why is it that we can't believe this?
Let me give another angle. It is too good to believe this, because look at the aggression with which Revenue Department in India is treating the foreign investment coming in and the valuation issues. Shell, Vodafone, Crane.
That's the issue of shares.
No, correct.
This is not even, this is a 100% subsidiary.
My dear, 1 minute. If the Suzuki contributes to the capital of Maruti today, this will be subject to challenge because it is on a private placement if they do it, to increase their stake.
But this is a listed company. There is no question about valuation.
I disagree with you.
The market price, they will have to do SEBI guidelines.
No, if they use the SEBI guidelines, that is for the purpose of issuance of shares. Income tax department is free to value taking it on a DCA basis because despite the fact it is a listed company, because it is only private placement to the
this is now Shell to the power of 500, sir.
No,
okay,
why Shell to the power?
We come back to it. We are not doing it because we don't like their behavior in the past as far as minority investors are concerned. Again, if you look
mostly
at it,
predicated on royalty payments that you don't like.
Absolutely predicated on royalty payment. But again, if you look at it this way, you look at the board composition today, it's kind of 5 people from Suzuki, another 5 employees who will...
They have as many independent directors required as per law.
No, it's as per their definition of independence. We don't consider Mr. Bhargav as being independent, given his extended tenure. We don't consider Mr. Ganguly, who was the auditor of, senior partner of Pricewaterhouse, who moved straight from his office in PwC to the Maruti board as being independent.
Okay.
So if you just look at
you
the
have
composition,
several concerns that make you look at this with suspicion as opposed to, yes, win-win.
Yeah, and as we say, it's kind of weakening the relationship, as it is an unequal relationship, is getting weakened further. Maruti will have less of a say. Suzuki will say, look, these are our terms, you want it, take it, otherwise we're walking out of the door. That's it.
Okay.
And therefore the minority investors will also have to sing Suzuki's tune 3 or 4 years from now.
All right, last word to you, Mr. Oswal. Why can't you believe this? Why is this too good to be true? Do you really think minority shareholders stand to lose, or are we being overly suspicious simply because we've had bad brushes with MNCs before?
No, the question of overly suspicion does not arise. Definitely there has to be some game plan, and the corporate governance principles are not fully followed.
But on what basis are you saying that?
I'm telling you, that is exactly, you are allowing me to do so, to say, then I can tell you. The explanation and the press release only speaks of few things, not the everything. What is the intent behind undertaking this? And I can tell you, I can guarantee you, it is going to lead to reverse merger or merger of these two companies
15 years from now,
within 5 years, next 5 years, or within 7-8 years, because a sizable asset base will get created by that time.
All right. I think it will be interesting to see when Maruti moves all of this and whether they give their minority shareholders a chance to vote on each one of the aspects of this deal, whether it's the lease of the land that they bought in Gujarat, whether it's the contractual agreements of supply with the Suzuki Gujarat subsidiary, and any other such commercial relationships between Maruti and Suzuki Gujarat. Because if they allow for that to happen and say we subject ourselves to the majority of minority rule, then I think a lot of the suspicions will disappear.
Absolutely.
If they don't allow for that to happen, or if by some quirk of timing they're able to move all of this through before the Companies Act becomes effective, then I think the suspicion will only double, and maybe we'll test Mr. Oswal's merger theory.
The timing issue is therefore very important.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for raising questions that we hope Maruti will answer. Before I say goodbye, a quick reminder to visit our website. KPMG's Jameel Khatri is writing an ongoing column on the Companies Act, and the latest edition is on higher auditor accountability. Make sure you keep up with Jameel. We'll see you next week.